Welcome, Lior, Eddie, and Lucci. Today, we have an exciting topic. We're going to be talking about what we saw at Agile Alliance 2023, who we met, some things that we got to talk about. I'm really curious, throwing it over to the group to hear what were some of your highlights, your favorite conversations, things that you learned and took away. So yeah, open it up, Agile 2023.
I think the thing that I was both most surprised and most heartened by was how many people are resonating with our approach around the need to focus on the health of the individual and the idea that you can't have healthy teams without healthy individuals. There's the fatigue that we're feeling around the certificate industry and the process oriented stuff and just the mill of agilists that are flowing through all of these companies, but who don't really have the care and don't really put like their heart and soul and really connect with the teams in the same way that we do. It was amazing to see how many people were exactly on the same page there.
Were there some specific things that people gravitated towards around the health of individuals? Was there a pamphlet that we had out or an exercise? Was like, what was it that people were like, wow, these guys are really paying attention to the health of the people that are on teams?
Yeah, there was the Holons handout, and the idea that if we're focusing on the foundational Holon, which is the individual, and then on top of that, there was the talk I gave, which was entirely focused on the health of the individual, and the idea that between quiet quitting, loud quitting, people having an expectation that they're going to be leaving their job. Like 50% of people in the world right now say they want to leave their job. People are not okay at work, and the impacts of that are really being felt. And I think that as an industry where the idea is we want to improve the working environment, this is something that is not being responded to quickly enough. And it's good to see that other people have this awareness. Did you guys have similar conversations or similar experiences?
In my experience, I was surprised by a lot of people that did know about the integral approach. Like I didn't know that. I thought that maybe it was something new for them. Like for most of them, yes. And at the same time, I've talked with a lot of people that they knew about it. And it was an interesting conversation because that's where they resonate so much with what we bring to the table, right? To actually focus on the left-hand side. So the conversation was like deep about that. And the way I think that the exercise, we did an exercise, I don't know for the people that are watching, about the 4 quadrants, like with post-its, where we asked the participants. First, we did an introduction where we explained each of the quadrants, and then we asked them which is their superpower, and they had to think about it and see where to which quadrant it belonged to. And I think that exercise also made people more aware about it, and how to put it into practice with a very simple exercise, how to put it into practice, and that it's not only theory, no? It's also, okay, this is how we can approach anything, like any challenge, anything that you have at work, like any situation, you can look at it from these 4 dimensions. I think that people liked it a lot. I also noticed that many people were focused on the right-hand side, actually, like looking for tools, looking for, okay, what can you sell that it's like task-oriented? And that for me was like an opportunity, like to make them be aware that there's more than the task and the tools. So yes. I think it made sense.
Yeah, I mean this was a fun one. This is essentially a typology exercise, and it's amazing for team building. So if you're getting a new group together and you want to kind of learn about each other, the way I describe this to people is everybody has their own intrinsic superpowers that they fall back on when everything else fails. When you're in a new job or a new position and you're nervous, or maybe you're feeling like a fraud, the things that get you through in those moments are similar to the things that get you through in other areas of your life. And people will ask you, hey, what's your superpower? So the idea that we had was that people don't have one superpower, they have four. They have something intrinsic to them from a values-based perspective, like maybe they're funny or maybe they're reliable. They have something that they do in the context of relationships, which is maybe they're a helper, or they're an amazing listener, or they're a great negotiator. They have something that they do with regards to the way they get results. Like maybe they're just amazing at making sure that something is of the highest quality and they don't let mistakes go through, or they beautify everything that they create. And from a systemic perspective, a lower right perspective, people could be great at, organizing things so that they make sense, or thinking things through from the systems perspective, or, pattern recognition, or creating excellent plans. So I found that people really learned about themselves going through this kind of an exercise. They struggled a little bit with understanding which quadrant to put things into, which is great, because then we got an opportunity to coach them and help them think through how to use the four quadrants in thinking through any kind of a problem. And then they got a nifty little all perspective notebook to take with them, so they could always think of everything from a four quadrant perspective.
Other topics came up while we were at the conference. Eddie, we haven't heard from you yet, but I know that you talked to a lot of people when we were there. Whoever came up to the table, you are definitely someone who is very active in the conversation. So what were some of the things that you found interesting?
I think for me, what I found really interesting and also, pretty encouraging was just how open people were to learn about what we were doing. So even if they hadn't known about Integral or hadn't seen some of the same issues we'd seen, people were really open to a new way to do Agile. Wow, that's so cool. That's so interesting. Let me hear more about it. Which kind of shows that although it seems at times like the industry can be a bit stuck in its ways, right? Sticking with frameworks and systems that aren't working very well, but they're the kind of done thing. People do have this mentality ready to change and try something new. And that kind of eagerness, like not just specifically resonating with what we were saying, but that kind of eagerness to pick up and like constantly try and improve the way we think about Agile and do Agile, that was really nice to see. I mean, maybe the thinkers at the conference are more open to new ideas and that's why they went, but it was cool to see so many people who are interested in moving Agile forward, and it gave me hopes to think there is still a lot of room to improve and a lot of room to involve, and a lot of people who are, have the energy to drive that. So I don't know if you guys noticed the same thing, but I think it was pretty clear when we said we're doing something new, people were immediately like, wow, amazing. What is this? How can this help me? What can we use? How can we use this to bring us to the next level? And that's really nice.
If anything that we saw there, that maybe it is like a takeaway for us, apart from what we did we find out something that, I don't know, that triggered our creativity, or that we found something new? Maybe not.
I mean, a big shout out to Nano, who obviously showed a really cool tool. That's something we should probably link down below. People creating some great tooling for doing Agile better. Just as a little nod over. Yeah, I wasn't able to go to as many talks because I put a lot of my energy into the boots. Leo or Alana, did you guys go to any inspiring talks?
I went to one that was pretty cool, and it was, I'm blanking on the name, but we'll put some information in the comments below. It was about bringing the team to the dojo for improving the team. For it could be around maybe their delivery process or something that they're struggling with, and it's this really intense 6-week focus on this area that they want to train in, and it's kind of follows, I guess, the principles of how you would train in a dojo. I'm not doing the session justice. Lucci and I attended together, and it was really interesting, and some things that I could absolutely see using with my own teams. So I found that was interesting, because we usually only see the improvement happening at the retrospective level. And this took a more aggressive approach to tackle a specific problem, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, there were two. There were two that I went to that impressed me. One of them was the Business Agility talk by Evan Laybourne, which is no surprise if you know his work. He's been going down the business agility path for a pretty long time. Definitely recommend his work to anyone who's interested in learning more. And there was another one that I'm trying to find the name of. But essentially it was on the same track as what we were talking about. It was speaking about how folks are just suffering. And it was coming at it from a different lens. So I'll just stop here, and if I remember what it is, I'll jump back in.
It definitely seemed like there was an era of wanting to do things differently. And I talked to quite a few people in change management who are interested in the things that we were doing.
Thing about integral is that it's universal, right? Like you can do integral agile as well as you can do integral change management, as well as you can do integral whatever else. So
all right. Well, thank you so much, Lior, Eddie, and Lucci. And thank you to Agile Alliance 2023. We had a wonderful time. It was such a pleasure to meet with everyone and to be part of the event. It was really just a great time to connect with people who are like-minded and doing some of the same things that we're doing and to find new ways to collaborate together. So thank you for that. And we will see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got a bunch more videos for you. See you next time.